and disintegrate. Years roll along and fade. Don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today. These are the good old days. Right here, right now, today. Hey, these are the good old days.
All right. Well, welcome to GoFigure. Again, today we're going to do something a little bit different. Usually we take an old toy and fix it up and give it a little love and put it back on the shelf. But today we're going to be doing, again, a little interview with somebody. And as a content creator, we're in this world, whether it be YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, wherever you find yourself, the content we digest and are attracted to is something that we can find a connection with. And so as I've been watching and digesting the content from our guest today, which is hilarious and it's great and it's thought-provoking as well, I've noticed some things going on that I think we're going to make a connection. And so we have on the show today Thad Ranger. So welcome, my friend.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fantastic. We're doing great. Now,
Good.
Watching your videos and your responses and your take on life is great, but something keeps popping up.
Yeah.
As you know, your take home, your takeaway. You often feature some vintage wrestling toys in your content, my friend. Are you a wrestling collector by any chance?
You could say that. You could say I'm a bit of a collector, dating way back. Yeah, I've got anything from the old LJNs down to the Hasbros, some of the newer stuff. So yeah. You could. I've been called worse things. Sure.
That's fantastic. Now you touched on an interesting point, which to me was like fundamental in my childhood. But you mentioned the LJN, which for those who aren't familiar with the insider terms, those are those big rubber wrestlers that you just smash together or threw at your friends. They were pretty bulletproof.
Knock your sister out with them.
You could definitely do that with them. And then you mentioned the Hasbros, which were the smaller kind of plastic ones that came out in 1990, right around WrestleMania 6, I believe, is when they were really pumping them out.
Yeah, he's spot on.
There we go. But for lots of toys in our childhood, whether it was He-Man or G.I. Joe or whatever else we were playing with, that was the scale, that was the line. But for wrestling fans and wrestling toy fans, we had to convince our parents to invest in a whole new scale of wrestlers.
Yeah, that's true. They were much larger, as they should be.
As they should be. Do you remember who your first Hasbro was that you convinced mom to buy for you after you had a whole collection of LJNs?
Oh yeah. My first Hasbro, I remember, Mr. Santa Claus actually brought me the first the Series 1 I got for Christmas all at one time.
All at one time.
And I hate to think that my Christmas has peaked when I was 7, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to get a whole lot better.
It can't get better than that. I got all of Series 1 except for Hogan and Savage my Christmas morning.
Okay.
So I felt like there was a lot of undercard and no main event happening.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got the B show.
Yeah, we got what was happening in Toledo. We didn't get the
you didn't get the MSG one.
No, imagine that. They had the MSG set, and then it was just all the headliners. And you got the Toledo one, which was just
right. Yeah,
Rick Rude and Iron Mike Sharp. That's who you got.
Yeah, open. Yeah, closing her out.
So in an earlier video, you also said that your favorite in WrestleMania was WrestleMania 6. Was that a joke or was that true, my friend?
No, that is correct. Yeah, that one has stuck with me. That's probably the WrestleMania that hooked me, actually, being honest. Yeah.
So that's interesting because that hits close to home because that happened in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, the Sky Dome.
Right. And so the Sky Dome is 45 minutes from where I am right now.
Ah, hallowed ground, sir.
Hallowed ground. So I remember as a kid, that was the first thing that made it real to me, where I was like, well, those guys are going to be like where I am. So I guess it's like we could, because you watched it on TV, but I'm like, we could actually be there. Do you remember going to your first live wrestling show?
I do. Yeah, it was at the a little smaller venue the Sky Dome. It was at the Civic Center in Cadillac, Michigan, the Wexford Civic Center. And the main event that evening was Diesel against Yokozuna, 19. So that'd have been put me about the fall of '95, I think. So it was a number of years later.
That's a lot of humanity in the ring.
It was, yeah, that was a pretty good show. Doink the Clown was there. So some real legends.
Right. That's fantastic. No, so it's interesting. Now, do you have a Doink the Clown Hasbro?
I do. Yeah. I do have the Doink. He's right here. Yeah, got the Doink the Clown one.
Well, see, now here's an interesting fact about that guy in my mind is that's not an action figure. That's a doll.
Yeah, that's probably closer. This is probably the closer to the most of the doll they made. Yeah, for sure.
It's got
and it's unfit, and they didn't even finish it. They really started. Hasbro really kind of started slacking a little, I'd say, once they got to the last few lines. They didn't really that whole series there. I don't think the Rick Steiner, and there's a few of them that they didn't quite kind of phoning it in at that point. I think Hasbro was.
Well, and I think the rarest one would be the 1-2-3 Kid. He's one of the rare ones to get. But his paint just looks like it's put on at an art class by children.
Right.
Like it's very
interesting. I think the most interesting thing about the 1-2-3 Kid figure is his back card has a picture of him after Mr. Perfect shaved his eyebrows off on a plane or something, I think. So his promo picture, Sean Waltman there, the kid doesn't have any eyebrows.
No, he looks a little bit not well in that photo.
Yeah. It's like he had a rough one, thanks to Kurt Hennig, from what I understand.
And as
I just heard Waltman talking about that, and he said that he thought it was the Smoking Guns, so he glued the Smoking Guns cowboy hats to the table. Later found out that it was actually Perfect that had done it.
So I think every young wrestling fan's dream at one point in time is to step into the squared circle and live the life of the Giants. But after hearing about all the pranks that go on, I don't think I could handle it mentally. I don't think I could do that.
I think it was a rough locker room back there in the '90s. Sounds like.
Yeah, but the Waltman eyebrow prank is funny because Hennig has been on record saying it's not you shave one of his eyebrows off is the gag, and then stare in the mirror saying, "Do I shave the other one off to make them match?" Is really
you make him make the decision. Yeah, that's smart.
Do I draw on or do I just leave it? Right.
I think Nasty Boy Brian Knobs, I guess, used to shave. If he'd shave your eyebrow off, he'd also shave one of his. So you think, well, it can't be him because it happened to him too.
That's like a deep level prank.
Yeah. And Brian Knobs is a different breed of animal, I do believe.
Now, and I have friends that are wrestlers. I've actually run a couple indie shows myself. But I think that it takes a special kind of person to say, I'm going to put my underwear on and get in the ring and just let her go.
Yeah. That's a different. You're in a different lane on that one, I think, for sure.
Yeah, it's I love it. I love it. It's the best show in the world, but it's something can happen there. It's actually I think that's the thing I've missed the most in the pandemic is going to see live wrestling.
Oh, I couldn't. God bless them for trying to keep it going. I think AEW did a better job of keeping it entertaining with they had the wrestlers in the crowd and whatnot. But WWE, when Miz got eaten by zombies, they really lost me on that one. I think that was about the end of the beginning there, as Jake the Snake would say.
Yes, it's a different world. When you talk about the AEW WWE thing, which I will talk all night with you about. That's fantastic.
Sure. Sure.
But Vince has been famously hilariously on record saying, one day Ted Turner called him up and said, "Vince, I'm in the wrestling business."
Uh-huh.
And Vince was like, "Well, I'm in the entertainment business."
Right.
I think Tony Khan is in the wrestling business. I think
Tony. I like that. Something we haven't had anybody in the wrestling business for a while. I don't think. So. Right.
And so they're just
back.
Their weekly shows are like pay-per-view quality stuff.
I was thinking the other day, did Miz getting eaten by zombies just lower the bar that much that AEW just has to wrestle and they're better,
right? That's
or
all they do is wrestle.
or is AEW really pumping? AEW's been pretty darn solid. That I don't know if you saw the Bryan Danielson Suzuki match,
Right?
the other night. Holy cow!
Like, and you look at Suzuki and you think. So I'll say this about AEW. There's some guys that get in the ring, and I just in my mind, like, please don't die tonight. Like, just don't
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin. Or like every time Jericho gets in the ring, I'm like, you've given us so much.
Yeah.
Don't die in front of us. Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But he just goes for it, right? He just like, no.
You know what? I will say Jericho gets a lot of slack for kind of his appearance anymore. His cardio or whatever, maybe. Yeah. But that dude he's still getting after it. He can still do a lion salt. So, hey, what do you want? What do you want from the guy? You know what I mean? No,
and people like say to him about like, oh, he looks like a soccer mom, past his prime, that kind of stuff. And I was like, look at Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the 80s. Like
right. Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah. Look at any enhancement guy from 79 and be like, oh God, I could have done this. I could have done this all day. Yeah.
All day long, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite enhancement guy?
Oh, that's a good question. Iron Mike Sharp, I guess, would definitely come to mind. I always enjoyed how loud he was.
Right.
He's just yelling.
He's
just
yelling
the whole time.
He's from Hamilton, so he's again 40 minutes away here.
World's greatest athlete or something, wasn't he? What was his? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was Iron Mike. I always thought Jim Powers was going to get more of a run at one point than he did. He just had he had the look, he looked like a wrestler from 1992. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, you see him on Superstars on Saturday, and you're like, oh, maybe Macho Man's going to lose this morning.
He's got it, Jimmy Powers, but no. I don't know. Would you consider Paul? Man, I guess I wouldn't consider Paul Roman necessarily.
If you're in a tag team with Hercules, you're not in an enhanced anymore. I thought they should have had the belts, those two.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was a very underrated team.
Power and Glory.
I thought Roman didn't get enough. Talk about a guy that could move in the ring there.
Right. So I thought Paul Roma and Tom Zink were like, those are the guys that really missed their shot. Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, I guess, and I don't know, obviously, but Tom Zink sounded like he might have been a little difficult to work with at times.
I think there's something about that business, especially at that time.
Yeah.
And you hear all the horror stories where it's like, we're putting on a show, greatest show in the world.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose my credentials. Right.
Like, right.
That's the kind of thing.
What was the match? Didn't Roma? How did Roma got fired from Didn't Roma get fired from WCW because he punked out Alex Wright on like a Super Brawl or something?
Yeah. Alex Wright, nice pull. That's
that's Wunderkind or whatever the heck he was.
Right.
He was called.
I miss 95 WCW where it's just like, we're just gonna try stuff.
Yeah, 95 got weird. All around. Yeah, sure did. Dungeon of Doom, and he had Mantar on the other channel and all this, and then that got out there. But,
yeah, and again, they're just trying to figure it out, and all we wanted to see is watch people wrestle. Just let them wrestle.
Yeah, just wrestle, guys. Yeah, exactly.
That's all we care about. We remember, Barry Horowitz, the ever popular enhancement guy.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, there was a local show in Peterborough, Ontario. That it was like a local indie show, but Superfly Snuka was supposed to be there.
Okay.
So I packed up a bunch of guys in my Cavalier. We're like, we're gonna go see Superfly.
Yeah.
We got there, and there was a poster, and it said, "Superfly's not gonna make it, but we have another WWE superstar to take his place, Barry Horowitz."
Wow, that's
I don't know if that's a 1-for-1.
No, I think that's you think you're you're renting a car and you think it's gonna be a Corvette. They give you a Ford Escort when you get there. That's
right. An 85 Escort.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
So
no disrespect to Mr. Horowitz,
we don't want to make him upset, but to fact, he gets in the ring, and this was a year after we lost Owen.
Okay.
And so he he's playing the heel of the show.
Yeah.
He's bad, but he gets in before his match and he starts dedicating it to Owen and gets all teary.
Oh yeah.
Pick a side,
Sure.
bro. Like,
Turn babyface right away. Yeah.
like,
Jeez.
so the crowd, maybe I started it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Started a go home Barry chant.
Oh, there you
No
go.
part of it. And so Barry Horowitz came up to me and
Uh-huh.
he was in my face like they get. But
Yeah,
it's,
right.
but it's an indie show, so there's like fewer rules.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if he meant to or if it was just because he was passionate, but he was yelling and then he spit on me.
Oh, that's not bad.
And again, maybe he was just excited. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
But a young Adam did not have the wherewithal to know my place.
Yeah.
Threw my cup of Coke at him. I was like, "You're gonna spit at me. Here you go." So he got
Yeah.
out, and then he went and wrestled his match. And then a week later, my mom was like, "How was the wrestling show?" I was like, "Oh, it's great. No big deal." And she goes, "Really?" And she throws on a paper, and on the front page is me mid-throw, and it says, "Local fan gets hardcore with Barry Horowitz."
Oh, that's great.
So I had some explaining to do about why I was getting
That's
involved.
fantastic. Worth it though.
Yeah,
Better to
I had
ask
to
for forgiveness on that one. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was great. So what would be, go back to the figures here for a moment, what would be the crown jewel of your action figure collection?
Oh boy, I don't have. I guess I don't have any real rare ones per se. But I do have some. Like I guess I've gotten some recently that were elusive to me.
Right.
Yeah. So I just recently got the Nasty Boys Hasbro's, which I always missed somehow when I was young. And I finally got the Demolition Crush Hasbro to add to this. So that's the trio now. So I was been trying to fill in some tag teams. Finally got the Natural Disaster. So nothing real rare. I do have finding a Dusty, I guess might have been, and finding one in the wild. Like it was a steal. So that might be my happiest one. And I guess I do have some LJN thumb wrestlers. Those are kind of rare anymore.
Yeah,
But,
those are neat. I have a rule where when I'm with my figure collection, I'm not allowed to use eBay. No eBay allowed.
Oh wow.
They've got to be found in the wild because I would have no home. I would just have lots of toys.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a good way of doing it. Yeah.
You're like,
Sure.
do you want an autographed Sean Waltman no eyebrows carded figure? eBay has that.
Yeah.
You can buy it there, right?
You can get that. You just gonna miss a couple mortgages.
Right. Your wife will not be happy at the end of the month, but you can have it if you want it. So my rule is only in the wild. So
That's good.
I'm on the lookout for a Dusty in the wild. I found one, but it was just priced too high. I was like, oh, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
But I always thought that his hair looked like chewed up gum when I was a kid.
Yeah. My first in hindsight now, obviously I appreciate Dusty and the legend that he was and everything. But when I first saw him in WWE, I didn't, and that was my first,
exposure to him.
Exposure to him. I didn't quite get it.
It didn't get it.
But I understand now that it was the twilight of the dream at that point in the ring anyway. So
it's funny when you say Mania 6 was, your favorite. I rank Manias on how close Savage was to the top.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my boy. So like Mania 5, I don't think you're going to get a better, like even today, a better main event than Mania 5.
Yeah.
Like
Mania 5's a strong Mania.
But Savage's match at 6, where he was in a mixed tag team with Dusty, and it was just all nonsense, and no one to hold the whole match.
Yeah.
Man, what's going on?
Yeah, well, he was like, you see those commercials where they got a rowboat and they put a screen door in the bottom and they spray it with Flex Seal, and that's the only thing keeping that thing afloat. Savage is the Flex Seal in that match for sure. Nothing against Sherry Martel, she's a legend, but what could she really do with Sapphire? And Elizabeth wasn't a worker, so
no.
So
keep
it together, Randy.
I went into the grocery store last Saturday, and a lady came in wearing, I swear it was the exact sweater that Elizabeth wore that day, with black with the stars on it.
Yeah, that's a nice look. I still choke up at that WrestleMania 7.
Right?
Yeah,
It's a moment.
that was done well there. Yeah.
Savage brought everybody to their A game.
Oh man. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Yes, Randy was. Yeah, one of the biggest crimes against the wrestling fan, I guess, or however you want to word it. That might not be a fair way to put it, but is that they didn't give him the due that he deserved before he left us.
No.
That's the greatest Hall of Fame speech we never got. Would have been that one.
100%.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that would have just been beautiful.
Yeah, but he like everything that he did, like he did it with like, with a savage attitude. It was incredible.
Oh. Yeah, he sounds and if you hear anything about him from the guys that worked with him and stuff, he sounds like he was a full blown lunatic. So living the gimmick. Yeah.
He lived it, right? Like he walked around in those in the tights and the hat all the time.
Yeah. Well, he grew up. I mean, it was real. It was real then, still, so to speak.
Absolutely.
I went to. I always thought this was a kind of interesting story. I went to a Jerry the King Lawler Museum in Mississippi, at a casino in Mississippi, right outside of Memphis. It's if you go to get to Memphis, I don't know that anyone's ever been more over than Jerry Lawler is in Memphis, Tennessee. The guy, you can just say his name and children know who he is. It's ridiculous. But they had a museum down there for him, and I was behind this old fella, this old timer, gentleman, probably in the 70s or so, and he was looking at the pictures of Lawler and Jackie Fargo back in the 70s and all this.
Yeah.
And he said something to me like, I know that stuff on TV now is not legit, but these guys hated it. Like, they still had him. They still had him 20 years later, 30, 40 years later, whatever it is. And that's Randy was the same, cut from the same cloth there. I think it was a legit deal to Mr. Savage. I love the story. Well, I don't love it at the outcome, but I love the sentiment of the story that, he was really upset that he couldn't get his dad a gig in WWF back in the day. Yeah.
As like, he's like, my dad can still go. Let's get him in here. And
didn't they have a battle royal or something in that? Yeah.
Like, want to get the man in here, and they couldn't get him in. That really just bothered him for years.
Yeah, that says a lot about a fella. I think a lot about his character.
Yeah, or even I was listening to a recent podcast with Eric Bischoff,
and
he took a lower salary so that the Genius could be hired by WCW.
Yeah, he always. Well, I mean, Lanny guy. I don't think Lanny ever worked a match for WCW.
In the ring.
He ever was in the back for the taping, even, but.
No.
Yeah, and he's still getting. I mean, he's still getting paydays, really.
Yeah, it's amazing that like Tito Santana and Lanny Poffo can be the main event at an indie show right now and sell it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And still probably have a halfway decent match, I bet.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's crazy when you see the guys that just loved it versus did it, and those guys still can go. Yeah. Right. Before the pandemic, I recently saw Shane Douglas at an indie show here in Canada. Guy just goes.
Yeah, Kenny, that's good to hear. Yeah, I haven't seen Shane around in a while, so.
Yeah, he just gets in there and just goes for it, and I'm like, this is incredible.
There's a guy I don't think got his due either.
No, he got his shot at the WWE at the perfect wrong time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he got Bam Bam Bigelow right out of there, however you want to say. A lot of guys got caught the wrong end of the click on that deal, I think.
I like that Bam Bam Bigelow is now a verb.
Yeah, well, that works.
That should be a video that someone should make is wrestlers' names that can also be a verb.
Oh, that could get down some holes on that one, I bet.
you Hogan, that could be a thing.
Yeah, that could be a thing. And be careful with that thing.
I'm not going to make the video. I'm not going to be.
That's right. Yeah.
But we're going to get there. So you've mentioned AEW, and clearly you're a fan of the product. Have you bought any of the AEW figures yet? Have you gotten into that world?
I have not. No, I pretty much. I'm kind of in the same vein that I've kind of got to stick with what I know right now until I can any of the figure money it's going to probably be going towards Hasbro's, or if I find, maybe some other. There's a few other lines of other toys and stuff that I'd have to stick around before I kind of work my way there.
Yeah.
The only real, I guess, the only modern ones I've really gotten into were the retro series.
Well, they were like completing the line, right? There was some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
So
There's sorry, I was just gonna say there's a fella here in I believe he's out east, out in New Jersey or somewhere maybe. I'd have to look. I think his company's called Zombie Taylor Toys. Have you heard? Yeah. He's making a whole new. I think he's got don't know for sure. I think he's got an artist from the original Hasbro line, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. So they had. I've seen Dino Bravo, I think, came out on that, and Earl Hebner, and they're doing a Paul Roma, and I think they're doing a Power and Glory actually. So,
Yeah, Dino never got a figure, did he?
No, Dino. They missed I always thought Haku and Barbarian and Dino kind of for some reason always got overlooked there in that run.
But see, up in Canada, we had an LJ and Haku figure.
Well, the black card or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as a Canadian boy, those were like all over the place.
Really?
Yeah. So one Christmas, like Bossman, Rude, Warrior, and Haku.
You still didn't have, which Demolition didn't come
We
out?
never got a Smash. We
never got the Smash either, huh?
Never got the Smash, to the point where you had the Axe figure, but you never put him in a match because you're just waiting.
Yeah, he was sad.
He's always out with an injury. It's funny. I had a really good friend who lived across the road from me. And so when we bought figures as a kid, we almost had like a collective roster. Whereas I won't get Sting because he's got Sting, I'll got Flair, and then we can like bring our guys together.
Sure.
But talking like Savage, like he committed to the gimmick. So if somebody got a knee injury in his league while we weren't playing together, he wouldn't bring him over because he's like, no, like Pillman's out with a knee injury. He can't compete today. I was like,
stay honest to your art. I like that. I appreciate that.
Commit to the joke. It stuck with me to this day. I was like, if you can get into something, you got to be all in. And so
exactly. He's never going to get any better if you keep bringing him over to other territories like that.
Right. It was almost like we had to sign contracts with like a non-compete agreement.
Like, you can borrow this figure in 90 days.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So would you say you had a favorite childhood LJN figure?
I liked the Bulldogs, I guess, were from a playing standpoint, I guess.
Well, he could do his power slam because he could put a guy on his.
Yeah. The one thing LJN kind of threw me. The sizes were like the. I've got a couple. I'll show you.
There you go.
Like so this is Davey Boy Smith, and Greg the Hammer Valentine looks to be about 8 feet tall.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened, where we missed out on that one, but I don't remember maybe Greg the Hammer was bigger in '86 than he got later.
I also don't remember Greg the Hammer Valentine's legs being that big. I remember his legs being smaller than his arms.
Yeah, the man's an Adonis in this one right here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I never quite got that, but those were some of the good ones. I always liked the Captain Lou.
Captain Lou.
Yeah, and I liked that LJN did the managers. I think that was one thing that Hasbro, a Bobby the Brain Heenan Hasbro would have been about as good as it could get, I think.
Well, I would say the same thing about a Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hasbro would be on the nose.
Yeah, Jimmy and a Fuji.
Yeah. Well,
the Series $1 Million Man is quite a bit smaller for kind of the same thing. For some reason, out of all the entire line, he's kind of tiny.
Yeah.
And so when I was a kid playing with him, he was my Jimmy Hart.
So he was always my referee.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to put you in a match in a suit.
Yeah. Right.
Like, did you forget your gear? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Come ready, DiBiase.
Yeah.
I thought they really improved him with the green.
The green money suit.
His Hasbro line's kind of like the green was good. The first one was tiny. The green was good. And then that last thing where he didn't have a suit on just looked kind of, then he was huge.
Yeah,
All
it
fun
was,
summer.
it was the same. It was the same body mold as the Hogan figure that had the same
Right.
power
Right.
punch.
Yeah. And it was,
Well, and like my favorite Hasbro is the Series One Savage.
oh yeah.
I think that's near perfect action figure.
I'm gonna agree. I think that was that motion, or however that design,
Yeah,
I think is fine. I'm agree with you. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Yeah.
I actually have a decal of that figure in the back of my car because I like it so much.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
but they use that body for Savage, Martel,
Uh-huh.
HBK,
Yep.
Marty Jannetty.
Yeah.
Might use it he was all over the place. That body was being used.
Yeah. I think they did the two. Sean had a couple,
Right.
I think.
Black pants and the white pants.
Yeah. No, I thought it was that was a user friendly model, I think.
Yes. And then the other one that I always laughed at was that they reused Hacksaw's body for the Berserker.
Right. Yeah. I don't remember Berserker doing the thumbs up. That always threw me off as a kid.
I always pretend he was just thumbing the guy in the eye because he was a
Right.
But
Oh,
can you
that's good.
explain to me the scenario where we have a Berserker figure, but we don't have a Jimmy Hart figure?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's something wrong. Well, it's not a perfect line, unfortunately. But
No. Well, I just don't think it was a perfect time for wrestling. Like when the Berserker came to the ring, just
Yeah,
use the sword. Like if you don't understand the rules that we're in right now, if you can't
Yeah.
speak the language and you think you're a Viking, why aren't you using your sword?
right. Well, he tried to stab the Undertaker that one time.
Remember that? And stuck in the ring?
Yeah. Terrified. Traumatized an 8-year-old. That one right
Well, I remember that was on the news.
there.
It happened on Saturday morning, and then the evening news, it was like earlier today at a wrestling show, a sword was
Yeah.
like, is this happening right now?
Yeah, I guess hindsight, maybe it's just that maybe Miz getting eaten by zombies isn't that far off of what they've always been doing.
No. And you know what's funny? And I know he's been the champion a bunch.
Uh-huh.
The Miz is maybe one of the best talents they have on the roster.
I think he's definitely one of the most improved. He's earned the spot he's had.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah.
But I just think they should give him a push. Just give him a big push.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I gotta feel like if they just would let him get some real heat, he could.
Yeah.
Kind of like MJF does there on the
100%. Well, I think MJF is just a Miz clone that everybody takes seriously.
Yeah, and he's just and they let him get heat.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we did some fantasy booking here,
Uh-huh.
are you into that?
Yeah.
All right. So if we were going to push the Miz to the moon and let him be the main event at WrestleMania in 3 months,
Okay.
4 months, wherever it is, it's March, I guess, so 5, 6 months. How would you get him there?
Oh boy. Well, he's out dressed as Aladdin right now, right? Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
So that might be a quick turnaround. For starters. Well, he's got to get his win back against the zombies to start with, I think. Right?
Yeah.
So you could have him. Has the Miz ever won a Rumble? I don't think so.
I don't think the Miz has ever won a Rumble.
That's the quickest way to get to where you need to go.
Well, what if the Miz is just about to win a Rumble, but then boom, betrayed by John Morrison?
I like it. I was gonna say I think they've left kind of John Morrison flapping in the wind a little bit. He's a hell of a talent.
He is a guy who delivers every time he gets in the ring.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
there's two guys that right there you could have quite a program with. That's where you start, I think.
Them up, and then let him go for the belt at Mania. Like let it.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Right.
Yeah,
I think people like a workers event. I think too, like a lot of times in the WWE they go for the spectacle of the main event as opposed to the match, right?
Sure.
It goes back to like Mania 3 where like the spectacle was Hogan and Andre.
Yeah.
But we all know who stole the show that day.
Right. Yeah, that's an art. I've heard Al Snow in an interview say that the greatest match at WrestleMania 3 was Hulk and Andre because that's what drew the crowd.
Yeah, sold the tickets, right? Put the money in.
So that's just a perspective argument there, I guess. Depends on what you're looking for. Yeah, Hulk and Andre drew the crowd, but bell to bell. Yeah, we all know what the match was that night. Yeah.
And you can put that match on in any current day pay-per-view, and it still holds up.
Yeah, I think that's just it speaks to the storytelling of it.
Absolutely.
It made sense. And that crowd was hot. Pontiac, which is close to I'm right in that vicinity. I'm not too far. I'm a little north of there, but
Okay.
yeah, the Pontiac, they were ready for it. That's the best thing ever happened.
Are all the towns in Michigan named after cars?
Most of them. Yeah.
Most of them?
Yeah.
I want to
move to the 50s.
I want to move to Pinto, Michigan.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's right next to Studebaker.
Right. I think, but the thing about Pinto, Michigan, though, is it has that gas plant that's just ready to go if it gets hit wrong.
Yeah. You want to come in from the north.
Incredible. So, going back to AEW, because it's such a fun product right now.
Yeah.
Because they have so much young talent just fighting for it, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, when you watch minor league hockey or minor league baseball, those guys are trying to get noticed. They're trying to be this thing. Right. So who do you think in the next 2 years is going to be like a top guy who's just kind of going there now?
You know, I really think that Jungle Boy Jack Perry he's about that time frame off from being big deal.
Did you see his match with Adam Cole?
Oh yeah. He's
boys, this isn't Mania. Just slow it down a bit. Like they were
right. Yeah, they were cooking.
And
this guy, he can work. I think I see him as a heel. I really do. To start, I think he's gonna turn on the giant dinosaur or whatever that he wrestles with, and that little fella there, Marco. Yeah. And I think that's his future. I would think. We'll see what happens, because I think you turn him heel and let him get into that, and then in 3 or 4 years you've got a red hot babyface ready to bust through.
Well, the thing is, when a guy can go like Jungle Boy, and then you give him the ability to cheat to win as a heel, unstoppable, right? He just So it's funny. Like 6-7 years ago, when my son was very young, and we wrestle around.
Right.
He'd always come up with different characters to come into the ring as, and so he had dinosaur mask he would wear, and you come in there, he's like, I'm the dinosaur man, and I was like that's funny as a kid, but like no wrestler's gonna be the dinosaur man.
Right.
Now he's like, Dad, you see?
Yeah. Excuse me, I'd like to introduce you to Luchasaurus.
Right. And you said no to the dinosaur gimmick, Dad.
Yeah, he'll get it. This guy will get it over. Apparently.
Yeah. this huge monster.
Yeah, right. That dude can move too.
It's one of those guys that's deceivingly big because he moves like he's small.
Yeah. I think he's going to get pigeonholed unless he switches up the gimmick. I think that's going to, not sure how far you can go with that necessarily, but I think the guy can move for his size for sure.
Yeah, it is a little bit like when those guys were stuck in the Wyatt family. I know Bray Wyatt was genius, but you can only do so much with that very specific gimmick, right? For those other guys like Harper and when they were there. Yeah,
once you make them kind of hangers on, so to speak, no disrespect, but they were the supporting cast in that whole that group. So once you've kind of put them in that.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with Bray Wyatt right now? Where do you think he's going to go?
I think Impact would be a good spot for Mr. Wyatt, because I think I'm a little worried AEW's the ship's getting a little full. There's already some guys like Brian Cage maybe, and some other fellas that aren't getting are already not getting the time maybe. So I where Bray Wyatt would fit. Although I would love to see him come back and take over the Dark Order. I think that could be interesting.
Yeah.
But I think creatively he's a better fit in Impact myself.
So are you an Impact guy? Do you watch Impact as well?
I can't say I really. I don't watch it. I try to keep up on things, but I don't really watch Impact weekly or anything now.
Okay. There's a lot of local Canadian boys that are doing well in Impact there.
Oh, okay. Right on.
So like Ethan Page and Cody Deaner and So it's neat to see guys that used to watch, you know, at the Legion.
Sure.
They're doing it. They're getting there.
Yeah. No, this is a great time to be a wrestling fan, and it's a good time, I think, to be a wrestler. Finally, there's some options.
Yeah.
For the guys and the gals, and I think that's the more the better. You know, I wish nothing but success for Impact and MLW and Ring of Honor and NWA and all these that they can, you know, be successful and be options for these entertainers and artists to go somewhere. So,
right. So what's your plan? Because you're an international superstar Thad Ranger.
Sure.
Where do you want to go be a guest referee for a pay-per-view?
Ooh, I'd have to do AEW is probably my right now. Personally, I think they're leading the pack right now as far as week-to-week television.
Right. And you'd be a fair ref. You call it right down the middle. No nonsense.
Right down the middle. Yeah, right down the middle.
All
Unless
right.
it was MJF, then I might.
Sorry, are you calling out MJF right now?
I mean, if he wants to have a problem, he can have a problem. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Okay, so final question for you, my friend.
Okay.
This has been great having you on. I'm also going to send you a thank you gift that I think you need from watching your videos. I've got a set of ropes for a Hasbro ring here.
Oh, man.
Because your ropes are white in your ring for some reason. They're all...
My ropes are string that I put on because I don't have any ropes left. So.
All right, well, we'll figure out how to get the
DIY.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Well,
yeah, Christmas comes early at that range.
Right there. I appreciate you doing the DIY thing, though. That's what I'm all about, is DIY toys, right? How do we fix them up?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to have to cancel all the events if I had a broken down ring.
No, you don't want the Rockers to lose their title shot because of broken ropes.
Yeah, we're not shutting the territory down because I got a couple broken ropes.
No, but that's not necessary.
Exactly.
But here's my question for you.
Uh-huh.
If we were to make a Thad Ranger Hasbro wrestler,
all right,
what would your finishing move action be, and what would it be called?
Ooh. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna stick. I'm looking at him now. I've got to go with the Macho Man figure,
body, yeah.
The elbow smash. And let's see, what would we call it? What would we want to call it? Yeah.
Well, if you want to think on it for a while and get back to me like in your stream.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we'll come up with
it, I think.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. I love talking toys, love talking wrestling, and I love making new friends. So this has been a groovy evening.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it as well.
Beautiful. Well,
yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for Thad Ranger being on the show, and we'll see you next week.